Hey, what's going on, guys? So we're going to be doing a deck profile on a variant of Dino Rabbit. This deck is super meta, so I was also explaining a little bit about how to beat this deck, but let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we're going to these three guys over here, Cabazuls and three Sabersaurus. They are terrible to draw, except for Sabersaurus, not so bad because he's okay with the attack damage. And so yeah, you run 3 and 3, and that basically allows you to make this card over here, Logia, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with. But yeah, and then next up we're playing Blackluster Soldier, just because I feel like this card is really, it's just way too good not to be playing. And I mean, he just wins games by himself sometimes. Next up we play 2 Veilers, and then 2 Maxi for the hand trap, and then we're also playing Gores, just because, you know, sometimes a big monster can be hard to deal with this deck. You just have no answers to big monsters. Next up we're playing 3 Rescue Rabbit, and then Sangan, and along with the 3 tour guides that get out Sangan. Sangan can search out Rabbit, can search out Veiler, can search out Maxi, but generally it usually ends up searching for Rabbit. And then we're playing 2 Thunder Kings, so you basically have 4 lights, which is kind of low as far as running BLS, but the thing is, BLS is just too good not to be playing. This deck kind of, most of this deck is actually from Adam Korn's build that he was playing for a while, and so yeah, but Thunder King is just really like a really great card as well that you can play in the deck, because it is, this deck actually is kind of an anti-meta deck, essentially. I know it's like super meta, but I mean the way it plays, it's just really anti-meta as far as it controls the field to the point where your opponent, you know, can't really do anything because whatever they get out, you have an answer to. But next up, we're playing Dark Hole, and then we're playing Triple Lance. This has been one of my favorite cards in this deck, just because what happens, and a lot of the times, is Fiendish Chain is a really popular card, and what happens is when you make out a Logia and you activate the effect on something, they will chain Fiendish Chain, and then the effect will go through. But if you have a Lance, it really does help, and it protects you against pretty much anything else for that turn, unless they can run it over with a monster. But you do happen to have a lot of other cards for answers when they summon the monster. But yeah, Lance really does help the deck as far as Fiendish Chain, because that's a really popular card that's being sided against this deck. And so Fiendish Chain is a great card against this deck, and same with Bottomless, although Forbidden Lance won't really protect you from Bottomless because both the monsters get hit by that, and you can only protect one from that. But yeah, also Torrential Tribute is there, so if you maybe summon Tour Guide and they don't Torrential, you just make another Tour Guide, and then you make Levier, and then after that they might like Torrential on your Levier's effect, and then you can kind of protect one of the cards, whatever one you want. And yeah, it really does help out, and I feel like Lance, it allows you to get over big monsters, and that's how the deck will lose. This deck will lose against big monsters, so if you're playing against this deck, which you probably will see at YCS, just get out a big monster. And, I mean, depending on how you feel comfortable with how many back row there is, you can either attack or not attack. I mean, the deck does run Deep Prisons, but the thing is, you don't want them to draw into Deep Prisons, so sometimes it's best to just attack if they only have like one back row and it's been sitting there for a while. Maybe it's like an MST. But yeah, next up we're playing 1 Gold Sark, just because it opens up a lot of combos. Plus, sometimes if you have BLS in your hand, you just want to search out that Thunder King or that Effect Veiler. I mean, sometimes it's a little bit too slow and you can lose from that, but generally if you get like a Rabbit first turn, and you're able to get out Logia and then you Gold Sark, you're good to go, because you know you have Logia for protection for a while. And also the main reason why Gold Sark is here though is if you activate Gold Sarcophagus for Rescue Rabbit, and then you summon Tour Guide, and then you get another Tour Guide or Sangan, and you make a Levier, you can then detach and special summon that Rescue Rabbit, and then you can pop then, and then on the field you will have a Levier, and you will also have a Logia, and you can activate the effect of Levier next turn as well. So that's basically why the Gold Sark is in here, and plus you can just like Gold Sark for BLS, Heavy Storm. As long as you go first in this deck, you really have a really great field, and you have really good control, as long as you get out like a Logia. Next up we're playing Heavy Storm, Reborn, and 2 Spaces. Space is relatively good in this deck. I'm not too much of a fan of Space Typhoon, as you guys know, and as far as other decks, but I feel like in this deck it really does help, because you need to get your summon out. If your Bunny gets warninged, you know, it really does hurt, and they get a big monster out, and you don't have an answer to it relatively quick, you basically will lose. Next up, Pot of Avarice, because all you really need to do is go Rabbit, and then Cabazuls, and then so that's 2 over here because Rescue Rabbit does get banished, so you'll have 2, and then you have 3. So basically 1 card puts 3 cards in the grave, and so Avarice is relatively good. I mean, Tour Guide into Sangan, and then into another Tour Guide. I mean, Avarice is really, really good in this deck. It's not really dead. Plus, I mean, you can realistically only activate your bunny's effect twice before an Avarice, so that's why there is 3 Rescue Rabbits, but you run 3 because it's also good for consistency, lets you draw into relatively fast. And then next up we're playing 2 Duality, because sometimes once you have your field, you don't need to special summon anymore. As long as you have your Logia out, you can just Duality and you'll be comfortable. And you just get that protection to protect Logia, and you'll basically win the game. Next up we're playing 1 Compulse, just because it helps against Spirit Reaper. Spirit Reaper is a really problem. Like Marshmallow and Spirit Reaper, this deck relatively doesn't have good answers to that. I mean, you're gonna have to sit on there for a while until you can make something. I mean, you can actually make Mistworm in this deck, and what you do with that is you just set your Veiler, and then you summon Rabbit and go for 2 of these guys, which are these guys over here. Either one, and you basically have 8, and then that makes 9. And so yeah, you can make it that way. And Mistworm, it does help. Trish was kind of a better option, but Trish is kind of gone now. But yeah, Spirit Reaper and Marshmallow are the problematic cards. So if you're playing against this deck, definitely run Spirit Reaper and Marshmallow on your sides, and that will help you defeat this deck. Because this deck, I mean, as you guys can see, I mean, Lance does help out with Reaper, but it doesn't really stop Marshmallow. But their answers are basically like Dark Hole and some type of. They can go for an Exceed perhaps. You could also play like Scrap Dragon, I guess, but I don't feel like it's good because you can go like 2- for that. But yeah, and then we're playing a 1 random Deep Prison. It does wonders though. It definitely does help because again, the problem for this deck is bigger monsters. And then in this deck, the 3 Solemn Brigade, it's just really good. And then lastly, 2 Torrential Tributes, really good because most likely your opponent's going to need to Synchro or do something to get over your Logia. And once you negate that, if they drop like a bigger monster, let's say like a Blackluster Soldier or like a Dark Armed, after you've used your Logia's effect, then you're going to have to Torrential Tribute. And yeah, so as far as the extra deck, you could be playing Scrap Dragon here. I don't have one in here. But yeah, we have a Catastor, a Black Rose, Bryo, Mistworm, Stardust, a 1 Dolk. I hardly go for this card to be honest, just because I feel like Logia is just a lot safer, but against certain decks like Chaos, as long as you have like protection, you can go for Dolka, no problem. And then 2 Logias, 2 Leviers at number 17, Acid Golem, Utopia, Roach, and a Zenmaines. I actually haven't been going for Roach anymore. Realistically, you could probably take this card out and probably put in like a Scrap Dragon. But I mean, in the off chance that you're playing against like Lightsworn, or if you're playing against Dragons, this card is great actually against Dragons and Lightsworn, because this card answers a lot. I mean, sure, Lightsworn can have Raikou and Jane as an answer, but I mean, you have Triple Lance, you have Compulse, and you have a lot of answers. But yeah, Roach definitely helps out just because like against Dragons, like what do Dragons do? I mean, obviously Future Fusion would hurt them, would hurt Roach, but there's really no answers to that. Anyways, I mean, you have double space. But yeah, Roach is definitely great to make against Dragons. And then we have like another Zenmaines here. Generally for the Exceeds, you basically make Levier the most, I would say. Occasionally I make this because they get out like a strong monster, and then you're like, okay, I can't get over it. And then some Dino Rabbit players, they'll make a Utopia, and they'll just stall with it. Usually when a Dino Rabbit player goes for Utopia, you know that they don't have any protection. Otherwise, they would have made Logia. Because like if they have a Deep Prison as a back row and you have a stronger monster out and they go make Logia, you can almost guarantee that that back row is going to be like Deep Prison or some type of protection. But if they make a Utopia and you have a stronger monster out, just attack the Utopia. You shouldn't need to be worrying about anything, because most likely they went for the Utopia to stall anyways, and then you can basically take victory. But yeah, that's been the deck profile, as well as a little bit of tips to play against this deck, because this is a very meta deck. I would say it's basically a tier 1, because there's really nothing to side deck against it. I mean, Maxi is obviously a great card, and it does let you +1 essentially when they go for the rabbit play. But as long as they go first, it doesn't really matter what you side. I mean, Bottomless is a great side. Spirit Reaper and Marshmallow are great sides. The thing with Reaper, though, keep in mind that most of them will be running Forbidden Lance, and that is the problematic card against Spirit Reaper. And I mean, you can compulse Spirit Reaper. That also doesn't really hurt. I mean, that will hurt Marshmallow as well. But realistically, Lance is the thing that hurts the most. And yeah, so this has been the deck profile. If you have any suggestions, let me know. I feel that this is pretty much going to be one of the most popular decks seen at the next YCS that's coming up in a week. And yeah, I mean, the only thing that you could realistically say I make a suggestion on, you could possibly take out BLS just because it hurts the consistency a little bit. You could just put another Thunder King or maybe another Mystical Space Typhoon, or I don't know, maybe another Deep Prison. Realistically, it just depends on your playstyle. I feel personally Blackluster Soldier is just too good not to be playing in any deck, or possibly Gores. You can take out either Gores or Blackluster Soldiers just because those are kind of like the cards that will change the consistency with. But yeah, this has been the deck profile for Dino Rabbits as well as some tips. But if you guys have any suggestions or other tips that I didn't mention, let me know in the comment section below. But thanks for watching, guys. Asian Eyes White Dragon, signing out.